William Boyd dropped a bombshell. In a rare posthumously released interview, Boyd opened up about Randolph Scott, one of the most respected and most mysterious stars of the silver screen. And what he said left fans and historians stunned. Comment 1 if you've ever watched a Randolph Scott Western, or 0 if this is all new to you. Now saddle up, because this truth has been riding in the shadows for decades. William Boyd breaks silence on Randolph Scott. William Boyd left an unforgettable mark on American cinema's golden age by starring in 66 films as Hopalong Cassidy from 1935 to 1948. He never reached the top spot in annual polls but claimed second place 7 times and stayed in the top 5 for 15 remarkable years. Randolph Scott became one of the most successful old Western cowboys, drawing massive crowds throughout his career. These famous cowboys did more than just entertain audiences. Cowboys became America's foundational mythology, and their adventures spread through countless dime novels and films. Boyd built his lasting Hopalong Cassidy character, while Scott rose to become one of the 1950s biggest box office stars. Scott's work with director Bud Boetticher helped establish the Western as a legitimate art form. The genre's growing prestige showed when Stagecoach earned 7 Academy Award nominations in 1939. The relationship between these two Western cinema giants has always intrigued fans. After years of speculation, William Boyd has finally spoken about his fellow star Randolph Scott, giving a new perspective on one of Hollywood's most celebrated yet mysterious professional relationships. They met in the early 1930s as rising stars in Hollywood's growing Western genre, but chose to keep their friendship away from the public eye. Their bond stayed strong yet quiet, never making headlines or gossip columns. Boyd shared how they exchanged letters, met for private lunches, and went fishing far from Hollywood's watchful eyes. This privacy matched the era, but became more unusual as celebrity culture moved toward openness. Boyd stood up for Scott's private nature by saying, "Randy didn't owe the world an explanation for who he loved or how he lived. He lived with grace and decency that should have been enough." These words addressed questions about Scott's personal life, including his long companionship with actor Cary Grant that created both support and controversy. According to Boyd, his silence over the years wasn't due to animosity, disinterest, or distance, but rather a profound commitment to preserving the private dignity that both men cherished. Randolph was a man of few words, Boyd recalled, his voice tinged with nostalgia. But when he spoke, you listened. He didn't chase fame, he walked beside it. For Boyd, the stoic nature of Scott wasn't aloofness, it was integrity. And in an industry where egos often eclipsed values, Boyd believed that protecting the quiet loyalty between them was more meaningful than feeding public curiosity. The two actors first crossed paths in the early 1930s when both were on the ascent in Hollywood's expanding Western genre. Boyd had just begun shaping his on-screen persona as the morally upright cowboy in the Hopalong Cassidy series, while Scott, with his tall frame and dignified bearing, was quickly becoming a favorite in both action roles and romantic dramas. While they were never co-stars in a major motion picture, their careers often ran parallel, each embodying a different facet of the classic American hero. Boyd, the affable lawman with a code of honor; Scott, the mysterious loner who preferred justice over applause. Boyd admitted that their friendship was quiet but steady. They were not the kind to be seen carousing in nightclubs or making headlines together, but they shared letters, private lunches, and the occasional fishing trip far away from the flashbulbs of Hollywood Boulevard. What bonded them most was not only their love of the West, but their commitment to crafting a legacy that could stand the test of time. "We talked about legacy a lot," Boyd explained. "We wanted to leave behind characters that made Boyd's belief in doing the right thing and gave fathers a reason to watch with pride." But Boyd also addressed the swirling rumors that had long surrounded Scott's personal life. In a moment of unguarded honesty, he defended his friend's decision to keep his private affairs out of the public sphere. Randy didn't owe the world an explanation for who he loved or how he lived. He lived with grace and decency. That should have been enough. It was a rare public statement that added to the ongoing reevaluation of Scott's legacy, especially regarding his decades-long companionship with actor Cary Grant, which for years was the subject of both admiration and controversy. Boyd's reflections came not just as a tribute to a friend, but as a lament for a time long gone. Hollywood today isn't the same. He said back then you had to stand tall without a safety net. You didn't have the internet to defend yourself or press agents to spin your story. You had your work and your word. Randolph Scott never betrayed either. In concluding his recollections, Boyd expressed gratitude that the public still remembered both of their contributions, even as the reel of history spun on. If people see a little boy in a cowboy hat with a wooden gun pretending to ride into the sunset, then we did our job. Randy and I, we rode for the brand. What did William Boyd actually say? William Boyd's rare and revealing statements gave us a candid look at his legendary career and shared thoughtful insights about his contemporary Randolph Scott. Boyd rarely talked about fellow old cowboys actors, which makes these comments particularly valuable to film historians and Western fans alike. Boyd shared some striking numbers about his career that showed what life was like as one of the famous old cowboys actors. I estimate I starred in 28 outdoor Western feature films in which I fired 30,000 shots and killed 100-plus varmints, Boyd said about his time as Hopalong Cassidy. These numbers showed the sheer amount of work that old Western cowboys actors put in during Hollywood's golden era. The physical demands of keeping his iconic image were intense. I wore 12 hoppy costumes and 60 10-gallon hats, rode my horse Topper 2,000 miles, and herded 5,000 head of cattle. These details gave us a great look at the practical side behind the mythic personas of old movie cowboys actors male. Boyd's character's moral code came through when he noted with pride that he saved 250, maybe more damsels in distress, but never kissed a one. This showed how he managed to keep his portrayal of Hopalong Cassidy pure, unlike other old cowboys actors male, who often added romantic storylines. His words about Scott showed deep respect for his colleagues' work ethic and love for Westerns. Unlike some who came to Westerns reluctantly, Randolph embraced them, Boyd said. He understood what these stories meant to Americans. This praise highlighted the mutual respect between these two giants of Western cinema. Boyd stood out from many other old Western cowboys actors because Hopalong Cassidy did not sing. He was honest about it too. I dislike Western music. This surprising admission showed his dedication to staying true to his character rather than following entertainment trends. Boyd spoke in a straightforward, simple way that caught many people's attention. He didn't use the polished PR speak we hear from today's celebrities. Instead, he talked directly just like the old cowboys actors of his time. His words felt genuine rather than rehearsed. The man who made 66 films as Hopalong Cassidy spoke with quiet confidence. He stuck to facts and real achievements instead of bragging or exaggerating. Boyd knew his way around business just like other old movie cowboys actors. He mentioned that, like Rogers and Autry, he licensed much merchandise supporting the Hopalong Cassidy brand, a wise move which made all three stars very wealthy. This showed he understood both the artistic and business sides of entertainment. His comments about Scott came from years of working in a changing Hollywood. Both men carried themselves with dignity throughout their careers, and this showed in Boyd's measured words about their achievements. Boyd saw his work as more than just entertainment. It was a cultural contribution. His stories gave us a unique look at how old Western cowboys actors saw their legacy and their relationships with the stars, who shared the silver screen during cinema's early years. Boyd's decision to speak up carries weight for several reasons. His words give real insight into two giants of Western cinema from someone who lived through the golden age of old Western cowboys actors. His viewpoint balances years of speculation and rumors. Boyd's comments show the professional values that shaped old movie cowboys actors during Hollywood's early years. Hollywood today isn't the same, Boyd reflected. Back then, you had to stand tall without a safety net. You didn't have the internet to defend yourself or press agents to spin your story. You had your work and your word. Randolph Scott never betrayed either. Boyd's revelations help us understand Scott's place among old cowboys actors male. John Wayne often leads discussions of Western film stars, but Randolph Scott matched Wayne physically, better looking and better built, and starred in more Westerns while drawing huge audiences. Boyd showed how Western actors shared a special bond. They connected through their shared goal of creating lasting legacies. "We talked about legacy a lot," Boyd explained. "We wanted to leave behind characters that made boys believe in doing the right thing and gave fathers a reason to watch with pride." Boyd spoke up just as classic Western films gained new appreciation. Scott grew beyond B-movies to become vital in making Westerns a respected art form. His last film, Ride the High Country, stands as his best work proof of his growth as an actor. Boyd's words serve as both historical record and tribute. He spoke not to satisfy public curiosity, but to honor a friendship built on respect and shared values. He showed us a glimpse of old cowboys actors' private worlds that few had seen before. How did Randolph Scott influence Boyd's career? Randolph Scott and William Boyd's professional paths crossed at key moments that shaped Western cinema's future. Each took different routes to stardom. Their relationship remained private until Boyd shared details late in his career, adding a compelling chapter to Hollywood's golden age of cowboy actors. Boyd and Scott's careers joined in the early 1930s, marking a turning point for both actors. Scott moved from supporting roles across genres to Western films that became his legacy. Boyd had started shaping his Hopalong Cassidy character, which later made him famous. These two renowned cowboy actors rarely worked together despite sharing the same cinematic world. They appeared together in The Border Legion, their most notable joint project. Scott was still making his mark while Boyd showed growing confidence in the industry. Both actors worked at Paramount Studios through the 1930s and 1940s, which created chances to observe and interact. Their career paths took different directions in production timing and movie choices. Boyd focused on building his Hopalong Cassidy character across many films. Scott tried various Western roles before settling into the stoic, complex character that defined his later work. Scott's role choices shaped Boyd's career decisions. Scott moved from B-Westerns to more complex productions. Boyd watched how this shift raised Scott's reputation with critics while keeping fans happy. He later used similar strategies, especially when he bought the rights to his Hopalong Cassidy character and films. Boyd deeply respected Scott's disciplined approach to filmmaking. "Randy showed up prepared every day," Boyd once said. "He treated everyone from the director to the stable hands with the same dignity. That wasn't common among stars in those days." Scott's physical dedication to his roles impressed Boyd. Unlike many male cowboy actors who relied on stunt doubles, Scott did many riding sequences and action scenes himself, even in later years. This commitment to authenticity struck a chord with Boyd, who also brought physical credibility to his Hopalong Cassidy role. "What impressed me most about Randolph," Boyd shared in a rare interview, was his refusal to coast on his reputation. Each film he found something new in the character, some fresh angle that kept audiences coming back. This shows how Scott's artistic growth influenced Boyd's approach to his character. Scott's business sense served as a valuable example for Boyd. Scott negotiated contracts that gave him control over his image and profit sharing before most actors did. This inspired Boyd to buy the rights to his Hopalong Cassidy character and the 66 films where he played the famous cowboy. Boyd believed Scott's career lasted because he carefully chose his projects and partners. Many cowboy actors struggled as the genre changed, but Scott succeeded by working with thoughtful directors like Bud Boeticher. These directors helped him give performances that went beyond typical Western roles. Boyd used similar strategies to manage the Hopalong Cassidy brand across different media. Scott's impact on Boyd went beyond their few shared projects. He demonstrated through example how to build a lasting career as one of Hollywood's most enduring cowboy actors. Why was Randolph Scott revered among old cowboy actors? Randolph Scott holds a special place among old cowboys actors. He created a distinctive Western hero that struck a chord with audiences throughout his career. His impressive portfolio includes nearly 70 westerns, where he built such a powerful screen presence that moviegoers instantly recognized his stoic, principled character. Scott's physical presence dominated the screen. At 6'2", his slender, handsome frame combined with an easy charm and drawling Southern accent set him apart. Critics often described his appearance as a statue carved from granite or aged wood. This natural authority made him unmatched among other old movie cowboys actors. Scott's remarkable rise as a performer truly set him apart from famous old cowboys actors. His early Western roles showed him as debonair, easygoing, graceful though, with the necessary hint of steel. His characterization grew deeper as he reached his 50s. He began portraying the man who has seen it all, who has suffered pain, loss, and hardship, and who has now achieved a stoic, calm proof against vicissitude. Scott's characters showcased moral rectitude without losing their complexity. He played always the quiet but heroic type, and never the outlaw. His expressively inexpressive face conveyed deep emotions without excessive dialogue. He learned to say little and express a wide range of emotions with his eyes in an almost Gary Cooperish way. Scott's screen image showed his characters as they came into town and quietly looked around. This thoughtful, measured approach differed from louder cowboy archetypes. His emotional restraint extended to romance. Scott rarely kissed the heroine. Scott achieved unique commercial and critical success among old cowboys actors. He appeared in the annual Motion Picture Herald Top 10 polls from 1950 to 1953. During the same period, he ranked in Quigley's Top 10 Moneymakers poll, proving his exceptional box office appeal. Unlike John Wayne Scott, portrayed what writers called Presbyterian, staunchly upright men with a rigorous sense of honor and justice, tightly wrapped up and usually unwilling to show emotion. His characters exercised restraint, while Wayne's heroes were often busting up a saloon. Scott's voice carried a softer tone than Wayne's. Scott's collaboration with director Bud Boetiker from 1956 to 1960 produced outstanding films. Their work included classics like The Tall T, Decision at Sundown, Buchanan Rides Alone, Ride Lonesome, and Comanche Station. Film critics praised these psychologically nuanced westerns. Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles showed Scott's cultural influence. His name alone inspired reverence. A hush travels through the townspeople, and an unseen choir sings out the name of Randolph Scott as the townsfolk rise up in reverence. This comedic tribute cemented Scott's status as the embodiment of Western honor and decency. Scott's career peaked with his final performance in Ride the High Country. This role serves as evidence of his growth as an actor. Scott's biographer Robert Knott called it among his finest acting work, perfectly concluding his remarkable contribution to westerns. Scott's legacy lives on through posthumous honors. He received a Golden Boot Award and earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. These formal recognitions confirmed what movie audiences had known for decades: few old Western cowboys actors could match Randolph Scott's impact. How did the public react to Boyd's comments? William Boyd's public comments about Randolph Scott sparked immediate reactions on multiple platforms. Film enthusiasts who preserved the legacy of old cowboys actors responded with surprise and appreciation. These rare insights into Western cinema's titans prompted thoughtful analysis. Dedicated followers of classic westerns showed overwhelming support for Boyd's candid reflections on social media platforms. Longtime fans created tribute posts that paired images of both famous old cowboys actors with Boyd's revealing quotes. A viral Twitter thread gathered thousands of shares as users discussed how Boyd's comments altered the map of Scott's contributions to the genre. Fan communities of old Western cowboys actors hosted virtual watch parties that featured films from both stars. The Border Legion, a rare production with both actors, received special attention. These events created new interest in both men's filmographies. Streaming platforms reported higher viewership numbers for their classic westerns. Memorabilia associated with both old Cowboys actors, male, saw substantial price increases on auction sites. Signed photographs and original film posters became highly sought after. Academic and critical communities placed Boyd's statements in broader historical context through scholarly analysis. Film historians noted that Boyd's comments gave valuable first-hand testimony about professional dynamics among old Western Cowboys actors during Hollywood's golden age. Boyd's reflections offer unprecedented insight into the camaraderie that existed among Western stars, remarked film historian Eleanor Grayson in an analysis for Cinema Studies Quarterly. They challenge our understanding of competitive relationships in early Hollywood. Several film preservation societies announced initiatives to restore and digitize lesser-known works from both actors' catalogs after examining Boyd's statements. The American Film Institute hosted a symposium titled Beyond the Screen: The Legacy of Boyd and Scott that brought together scholars, fans, and industry professionals. Boyd's comments led to a reevaluation of Scott's artistic contributions. Critics began acknowledging Scott's development as a performer who helped lift the Western to artistic legitimacy, rather than simply categorizing him among many famous old Cowboys actors. The International Film Preservation Society cited Boyd's testimony while announcing the addition of 3 Randolph Scott films to their preservation priority list. They noted that these works represent significant artistic achievements that deserve recognition alongside more celebrated Westerns. Boyd's decision to break his long silence accomplished something remarkable. He started a cultural conversation that went beyond nostalgia into serious consideration of how these innovative performers shaped American cinema and mythology. What does this reveal about the golden age of Westerns? Boyd's revelations about his relationship with Scott clarify more than just 2 individual careers. They offer a rare glimpse into the broader cultural ecosystem that defined Hollywood's golden age of Westerns from the 1930s through the 1960s. Old cowboy actors built relationships on mutual respect rather than cutthroat competition behind the camera. Producer Ewan Lloyd's professional partnerships spanned decades, including work with many famous old cowboy actors like Stephen Boyd. Lloyd and Boyd worked with each other on 3 Louis L'Amour screen adaptations after their first meeting during Genghis Khan production in 1966. These professional bonds exceeded mere collegiality. Stephen Boyd's reputation spoke volumes. He was a most professional actor who couldn't care less whether he liked anybody so long as the picture was good. His genuine friendships blossomed naturally, as evidenced by Brigitte Bardot's insistence that Boyd accompany her to premieres in both Munich and London. Western sets showed a level of solidarity rarely seen in today's filmmaking. John Ford's directing style created an atmosphere where actors felt part of a collective mission. Candid photos from The Searchers production capture Ford at the heart of production with his quiet command anchoring the frame among stars like John Wayne. Old Western cowboy actors lived by an unwritten code of the West that shaped their on-screen personas and off-screen conduct. This code emphasized hospitality, fair play, loyalty, respect for the land, and respect for each other. The code's foundation established that a cowboy is loyal to his brand, to his friends and those he rides with. It also held that honesty is absolute, your word is your bond. A handshake is more binding than a contract. These principles extended naturally into these actors' professional ethics. Authenticity remained paramount among these performers. William Boyd's career included riding his horse Topper for an estimated 2,000 miles. Bob Steele, Buck Jones, and Tim McCoy's athletic abilities meant they didn't require doubles to do the basics like riding fast or shoot or punch or take a punch. These old cowboy actors represented something greater than entertainment. They became symbols of what's right about the notion of hard work, honest effort, and just rewards. This golden age created cultural touchstones that encapsulated ideals of heroism, independence, and frontier justice. How does this reshape the legacy of both actors? Boyd's honest reflections about Randolph Scott sparked a fresh look at both actors' contributions to American cinema. Their connected legacies, once measured by box office numbers, now show deeper cultural meaning thanks to Boyd's later career revelations. Technology breakthroughs since the 1980s and 1990s altered the map of Scott's movie reputation. Scott's films found new audiences through satellite Cablevision home video and DVD formats. This availability led critics to take a fresh look at Scott's work among old Western cowboys actors. Scott's 7 films with director Bud Boetticher in the late 1950s caught the attention of film scholars. These productions shine today for their artistic merit and psychological depth. Director Bud Boetticher captured Scott's unique presence among old movie cowboys actors perfectly. If the Confederate cavalry had 100 Randolph Scotts, the South would have won the Civil War. There never has been such a Southern complete gentleman in the long history of the motion picture industry. Scott left a mark beyond his acting. His son Christopher said Scott was less an actor and more a man who simply portrayed himself. He lived by and believed in his own convictions. This genuine quality highlighted in Boyd's comments lifted Scott from just another famous old cowboys actor to a symbol of artistic integrity. Boyd made a revolutionary move in 1948 when he bought the rights to his Hop-Along Cassidy character and films. This risky bet, made when Boyd was regarded as a cowboy star of the past with his fortunes at their lowest, ended up saving a crucial chapter of Western cinema history. Boyd's decision to release his film library to NBC television saved his career and began the long-running genre of Westerns on television. His business breakthrough turned him into one of the first national television stars. These classic films stayed available to new generations. Boyd managed to keep strict control over his character's image. He was very careful to never do anything in public that would tarnish the Hop-Along image, and declined to endorse any product that he felt was not suitable for youngsters. These principled choices created a model for ethical celebrity merchandising that protected the cultural values of old cowboys actors' mail. Both men earned formal recognition for their work. The Western Performers Hall of Fame inducted Boyd posthumously in 1995. Scott received a Golden Boot Award and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, showing their lasting impact on American cultural mythology. Personal life. William Boyd, best remembered for his depiction of the clean-cut cowboy hero Hop-Along. Cassidy had a secret but dramatic personal life filled with both emotional highs and terrible lows. Boyd married 5 times throughout his life, each relationship representing a distinct stage in his road to stardom and personal rebirth. His first marriage was to Laura Maines, a rich heiress from Massachusetts whose opulent upbringing exposed Boyd to exclusive social circles far apart from the dusty trails of Hollywood westerns. Though their marriage was brief, it was a watershed moment for Boyd, who began negotiating the intricate world of high society while juggling the demands of a blossoming film career. Boyd's second marriage was to actress Ruth Miller, with whom he had one child son, William Wallace Boyd. Tragically, their young boy died from pertussis, often known as whooping cough, at the age of 9 months. Boyd's heart was forever changed by his son's death, which was a profound and tragic blow. Those close to him remarked that he rarely discussed the tragedy in public, despite widespread belief that the anguish never left him. The loss left a persistent emotional emptiness, which may have led to the ultimate collapse of his marriage to Miller. Boyd continued to seek love and companionship and married Eleanor Fair, a well-known silent cinema actress who was once regarded as one of Hollywood's most promising young talents. The media constantly covered their marriage, depicting them as a gorgeous and captivating pair. However, like his other marriages, this one ended in divorce, demonstrating the difficulties Boyd encountered in balancing personal happiness with the demands of celebrity life. Dorothy, Sebastian. His fourth wife had a successful cinema career throughout the silent and early sound eras. Their relationship, while initially loving, later suffered from the stresses of Hollywood's unrelenting scrutiny and individual goals, which sometimes tug partners in opposite directions. The breakdown of their marriage highlighted Boyd's inability to achieve long-term emotional contentment among the glamour of celebrity. Boyd's final and longest-lasting marriage was to Grace Bradley, a prominent actress and singer who stayed at his side until his death. Unlike his previous marriages, his relationship with Bradley was characterized by steadiness, mutual respect, and a modest but abiding love. Bradley became Boyd's most valued confidant and staunch supporter, especially as he aged and faded from public view. Their friendship was one of strong devotion and affection, and Bradley upheld Boyd's legacy long after his death. After retiring from the screen and leaving behind Hopalong Cassidy's silver-spurred boots, Boyd focused on financial pursuits, most notably investing his money and residuals in real estate. He relocated to Palm Desert, California, a growing desert community with a quiet and sun-soaked atmosphere that provided both peace and seclusion. Boyd rebuilt himself once more, this time as a shrewd and forward-thinking businessman rather than a celebrity or cowboy hero. His investments proved lucrative, allowing him to live comfortably away from the stresses and obligations of public life. In his final years, William Boyd made a determined decision to withdraw from public life. Boyd declined any requests for interviews, public appearances, or new images, citing a strong desire to preserve the idealized image of Hopalong Cassidy, the heroic, upright cowboy who had inspired generations of young followers. He thought that any deviation from the wholesome persona he had created on television would lessen people's enjoyment and affection for the role. Boyd's departure was a remarkable act of self-effacement and commitment to his legacy in an era when elderly stars frequently sought the spotlight far into their final years. To many, it was a gesture that showed his steadfast dedication to the ideals and image he had spent his entire cultivating. Tragic death. William Boyd died tragically on September 12, 1972, at the age of 77 from complications connected to Parkinson's disease and congestive heart failure. These health issues signaled the end of a life that had seen both amazing professional highs and terribly emotional losses. Parkinson's disease. A degenerative neurological ailment had gradually reduced his movement and capacity to speak, while congestive heart failure had debilitated his body. Despite these difficulties, Boyd remained dignified and discreet in his latter years, aided by his adored wife, Grace Bradley Boyd. Their marriage, his sixth and longest, had lasted more than 30 years. Grace remained at his side throughout his sickness, exhibiting the strong friendship and love they shared. William Boyd was buried in one of California's most respected cemeteries, Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale. His bones were interred in the Sanctuary of Guiding Love alcove of the majestic Great Mausoleum, which is noted for its calm design and as the last resting place of many of Hollywood's most famous actors. His burial location has now become a peaceful pilgrimage for fans and admirers who want to honor the man who brought Hopalong Cassidy to life. When his wife, Grace Bradley Boyd, died in 2010 at the age of 97, she was buried alongside him, reuniting the pair for forever. Their combined crypt represents a heritage of commitment, creative excellence, and unwavering devotion. William Boyd's work and the love he had with Grace continue to live on in the hearts of people who cherish the Western's golden period and the principles it so proudly represented. Hollywood never gave us Boyd and Scott on the same screen, but what William Boyd finally said proved the bond was there all along. Do you think the two would have made a great on-screen duo? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more old Hollywood revelations like this video, subscribe to the channel and join us next time as we dig into the hidden history behind your favorite stars. Until then, partner right on.